Thank you for doing this.
Hi, thanks. Who here doesn't know who Ross and Rachel are? Okay, good. So we have oh, really? Are you from America? No? There you go. All right, so Ross and Rachel were these like people that were on again and off again and on again and then off again, then they got pregnant. They were off again, and then they went back on again right at the last episode, like last 20 minutes, and then you're supposed to assume that they will one day get married and get that impending divorce. So what we've noticed, what I've noticed, I guess, is that if Ross and Rachel lived today or were filming today, that relationship of on again and off again would probably be a lot more complicating. And sure enough, Facebook does even have a status, relationship status that says it's complicating, and that's perfect for them. But who am I to say that? Well, my name is Maria Avgitidis. That last name is very Greekly obnoxious. And for that reason, people started calling me Marie the Date Coach because I'm a fourth-generation matchmaker. So on the Twitters, I am the Date Coach. And I just tweeted something, and I'm just kind of curious if you guys can kind of play along. It's hashtag digital dating. But I've put a point system basically up. It's let me know your points in terms of digital dating. So you get 1 point. In my last tweet, so if you guys are on your computers, like go to the Date Coach, you'll find it. So it's 1 point. You get 1 point if your relationship has been affected by Twitter. You get 2 points if it's been affected by Facebook. You get 3 points if it's been affected by MySpace. And I think you get 5 points if it's been affected by Foursquare. And there's a reason I'll tell you at the end why those kind of have different weights to them. So what if Ross and Rachel were Facebook friends? Well, obviously, going on a break, that beautiful American expression, would be really different, wouldn't it? There would be a lot of photos to untag. Sure enough, the networks would probably still exist. We always have those mutual friends. And basically, the next person you date or the next person you flirt with, God forbid they know your full name and your Facebook is not completely shut down in terms of privacy, they have access to your entire dating history virtually. And that's kind of intimidating, isn't it? So I guess what I want to do here is basically look at 3 questions that kind of affect the digital dating environment that we seem to be engaged in. Who here, by the way, I know no one here wants to like say that, but are there enough people here that are single, that are dating digitally? Yeah. Are you single? We can like set you up later. Oh, by the way, I'm a matchmaker at Agape Match, which is one of the leading boutique matchmaking agencies, and it's spelled A-G-A-P-E. Jeff had done the schedule and spelled my company's name wrong, so everyone's been tweeting it wrong. But Agape means love in Greek. I'm Greek. It makes sense. So the 3 questions I want to look at. How have relationships changed in the past several years? Well, as a relationship expert, I'll tell you this much. My business has totally changed in terms of how people communicate before the first date. Do we even have a blind date anymore? The moment I tell someone a little bit about the person I want to set them up with, especially their first name, in the beginning, they would go through my Facebook profile, go through my friends, find the person that I'm thinking about introducing them to, and then they would say, you know what? They were dating someone 2 months ago. I don't think they're ready to date someone seriously. Pass. Shit. So what did I do? I got rid of my friend list on Facebook. Yeah, so only if we have mutual friends, like Sarah and I right here. We have like what, 70 mutual friends. We can see that, but she can't see any people that she doesn't know on my Facebook, and that helps me as a business person and a matchmaker. So basically, the point here is Facebook has kind of gotten rid of the blind date. And the next point here I want to say is Facebooking before the first date the norm now? And is that good or bad behavior? And I'm going to argue that it's kind of bad. In fact, I think that if you're dating someone right now, or married to them, or thinking about dating someone and you know their full name, block them. Go ahead. Really, I want you to block the person you're dating or married to. And I'm saying this advice as like to help you have a relationship that's going to last longer than the next 6 months. Because what Facebook has done and these other social media tools has done is it's created sort of, an obstacle to fostering a healthy relationship. How many of our parents, well, you know what? I don't know about you guys, but my parents, I mean, I know my mom's now on Facebook, but my parents weren't on Facebook before it was invented because there was no such thing. In fact, they weren't even on the internet when they met. And I think most people here have parents that weren't on the internet when they met. So my father didn't have to go through her ex-boyfriends when they met. And my mother didn't have to see photos of my dad with his ex-girlfriends, maybe because cameras weren't invented yet, too. But that being said, my parents don't have to navigate that sort of dating world. And what's happened in our generation, the digital generation, if you will, is we have to navigate through these little obstacles that come up, and you're allowing third-party people that don't really matter to affect your relationship. Let me give you an example. I was traveling with someone, and I was in the hotel room with them, and their boyfriend called. They had met when she was 23. She has photos in her Facebook of when they were 20, when she was turning 21, and there's a guy drinking a shot off her belly or something. He calls her, because it's the first time he's going through her photos, and says, "Who the fuck is this? And who is this guy?" It's the bartender. It doesn't matter. But he's now affected their relationship. Also, she's an idiot for keeping that photo up, because you shouldn't have photos like that anyway. But he's affected it. Another thing is, when you add someone right now that was, let's say, your high school friend, right? And then you add them on Facebook. They'll say, let's say you're in a serious relationship. They'll say in your wall, "Oh my gosh, you look great. Can't wait to catch up one day." Your boyfriend right now is probably going to read that, or your girlfriend, whatever floats your boat, is going to read that and think, "Who the hell is this?" And now you're allowing someone who probably doesn't even matter because you haven't seen them in 15 years affect your relationship. And that's kind of the obstacles that modern relationships now have to go through, is this digital obstacle. Now, I'm not saying that Facebook and Twitter and Foursquare aren't excellent tools to flirt digitally and find a boyfriend and find a girlfriend and, I don't know, Skype sex, whatever you want. But, yes, it does exist. But what I'm saying is that once you have that relationship going forward, you should be blocking them because you're allowing a third party to affect a relationship. 1 in 5 relationships right now, 1 in 5 marriages right now have Facebook history in their divorce proceedings. That's a little weird. Let's not get started into BlackBerry, BBM, whatever. I'm sorry, I have an iPhone, so I don't know what the lingo is. That's also being put in. These digital imprints of yours are being put in and affecting your relationship. And I strongly believe you should be blocking whoever you're dating. And that takes us to dating etiquette. Should you be Facebooking before a first date, or can we still have blind dates? In fact, I'll give you an example of how I run my business. I know that there's another matchmaker on Bravo TV who tells people that her first date rule is don't have sex until monogamy. No. My first date rule is no Facebooking before a first date. In fact, like I said, block. Once you find out their full name in the initial conversation, block them. It's so imperative that we keep the sanctity of a blind date blind. And it's so important to keep the budding of a new relationship still fun. If I'm adding someone that I'm currently on a third date with and they already know my favorite movies and all of my likes and what brand of toothpaste I'm using, then what's the point of the first 5 dates anyway? Might as well just have sex on the first date. They know everything about you. And on top of that, I think that's what's also the biggest difference between online dating and, let's say, matchmaking, which is a service that I provide. Online dating, you have all this information. It's the same problem. All this information is provided on an online dating profile that is usually talked about on a first date. So what happens is when people go on the first date, they are talking about second date information verbally, but physically they're on the first date. So you don't have this alignment between dating. And that's what makes digital dating and today's dating a little bit difficult. So that being said, let's see now the point system. I want to see who has the highest points. So, did anyone do this? Or is this is that a yes or a no? All right. La la la. Well, in any case, someone had tweeted before that they have 10 points in their digital dating. 10 points is a lot. And let me explain the difference why I've weighted the votes this way. All right. One point is Twitter, because Twitter is, it's not really, it's not a two-way street, is it? One person can follow you, the other person doesn't follow you back, whereas on Facebook it is a two-way street because you're both friends. So those are the different weights on there. But if your relationship has been affected by MySpace, you're being digitally dating destroyed or affected positively from the get-go of social media. And I think that's important to keep in mind. And of course, Foursquare, which is my most favorite example, is people can tell when you're cheating on Foursquare based on who you keep checking in with. So with that being said, just protect yourself before you start dating. Thanks.